Being a Broadway performer is pretty cool. And a lot of hard work, but getting there is even harder. I'm gonna tell you all about it. I'm Adrienne Walker. Welcome to 32 Bar Cut.
How's it going, everybody? Today on Broadway Banter, we are talking about preparing for the first day of rehearsal for the show you just booked. You're excited, you're feeling all the feelings, there's a nervous energy, you want to know what to do. Yeah. Where do I start? Well, it's the first day. I don't know. Should I do this? Should I do? We're going to talk about it. It's just our opinions. It's just our experience on how to prepare for a first day of rehearsal, whether it's Broadway, whether it's off-Broadway, whether it's off-Broadway, community theater.
Regional theater, it doesn't matter. First day of rehearsal, you should approach it the same way. And this is what we've learned over time. Austin is not only a music director, he also is an actor. He has been an actor on the first day of rehearsal. So we are giving insight into how you should prepare and wrap your mind around the first day of rehearsal.
Before we do, it's time for a quick word from our sponsor, 32 Bar Cut. We have cool mugs. I'm drinking a tea. I'm on vocal rest.
You know, it's funny. He's always using this I'm on vocal rest mug, but is he ever really on vocal rest?
No.
No.
But that's the point. You can always use the mug.
And scoot up.
It's very handy. What else do we have?
We also would like for you guys to know about these tote bags, too.
Look at this tote bag. You know what's great about this tote bag?
What's great about it?
Is the size of the strap. Because I always want to put it, look at this. I can always put it right here.
It's nice.
I like it.
Because you can get it over your shoulder in one arm, like that. I love it because I have long arms. And that's my struggle is when the shoulder strap is too short, I get stuck. You guys know what I'm talking about. You get stuck. This one doesn't happen like that. So now I have put items in this bag. I haven't had an opportunity to go anywhere with it because I haven't had an audition in person yet. But this fits your audition book, your water bottle, and a pair of shoes. So check it out. It's on 32barcut.com. /shop.
It's really the perfect bag for like auditions because it's just kind of chill. You know, you don't want to bring the Gucci bag. Okay, that's just over the top. This is not a very crazy expensive bag. You know, it's just affordable bag. You can always keep your audition stuff in it. Have it ready with the audition shoes, the water bottle, the granola bar, and the book. Okay, it's perfect for that. And you rep the company. You rep us.
And you can throw in a water bottle too. Okay, now we're done. That's a word from your 32 Bar Cut sponsors.
That's our sponsor.
But now let's get into it. So if you have a moment, just grab a notepad or something you can take notes with, just so you can run everything down and really have this checklist for when you book your next job and you're getting ready for your first day of rehearsal so that you're ready and prepared.
Let us know if you think we've left something out in the comments. Let us know how you prepare. We always like to hear what you think. Okay, so the way we decided to organize this was by the amount of time before the first day of rehearsal. So we're going to start with how to prepare, say, a month before the first day. So you got the offer, you're excited, and you want to get the ball rolling. What do you do in the month or months prior to the first day of rehearsal? What's the first thing you would do?
I think you should start.
Well, I'm going to do it. The first thing that's obvious is the body prep, okay? When I get a role, let me tell you about this one role I had. I had a role, yes, I know it's hard to believe, but I had this Sondheim show in Chicago.
Yeah, I'm listening.
And it was just me and another actress. It was a two-man show.
You can't just say it was me and another actress.
It was.
This other actress was Bethany Thomas, who is a powerhouse singer. She's incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible.
And she was playing his on and off again spouse.
No, not really. It was like the beginning of the whole relationship. So it was like the first, she was the next door neighbor. And then she comes and then we meet and then...
I don't know the show.
It's a whole thing. What? That's besides the point. The point is I had booked this show and it's just two people on stage and I'm one of them and I'm like, uh-oh.
But he also had more than a month to prepare. I feel like if someone only has a month to prepare, do they really have time to
You
Get body ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the point is that the first thing you can do, get the body ready. Okay. And I'm not just talking about losing a little bit of the whatever you want to lose. You know, maybe you want to do some push-ups and pop and you know, I'm a skinny guy, so I might want to do the protein and like really bulk up so I'm looking good. You know what I mean? We're not just talking about that part of the physical. We're talking about getting your body ready, whether it's doing yoga, Pilates, getting conditioned to be able to do a show 4, 5, 6, 8 times a week in Broadway's case.
And for a lot of regional theaters, you may or may not be doing 8 shows a week. I've done shows where it's only 5. Sure. I've done shows where it's only weekend performances. And then I've done regional theater where it is 8 shows a week.
Yeah, but it doesn't
Sometimes
matter.
9.
It applies. The point is that it applies. It doesn't matter if you have an issue. You need to get your body physically ready.
Yeah.
Now, this also extends to singing and dancing.
Mm-hmm.
You should be, if it's a musical, you should be singing every day. Don't wait until the week before or even rehearsals to start singing. Be like, oh, I have time to rehearsal. No. You need to start singing, conditioning the voice. If you're a dancer, you need to be dancing every day, which most dancers do anyway. Mm-hmm. But you need to be getting the body physically prepared. Don't wait until rehearsals start.
Yeah, definitely. Because it'll take your body by surprise.
Yeah.
And you don't want surprises. And also, I would say that rehearsals can be way more strenuous than actually doing the job. Yes. Because you are in rehearsal 8 hours a day. Or usually, if it's an equity show or something like that, it'll be 5 to 8 hour rehearsals. You're going to be called in the morning when maybe your regular routine is to be a night owl. It can be grueling. So you want to get your body ready and in a healthy way and lock in a routine that'll get you ready for that.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say about this stage is that for me, I don't normally talk. I'm like a music producer during the day, you know, so I'll be working on music, you know, producing all of that stuff. And I find that I don't speak like throughout the whole day unless I'm talking to Adrienne about something. But normally I don't speak. Well, then if I book a show, and especially when it's like a demanding show, like a 2-man show, a 2-man/woman show, all of a sudden my voice is being used all the time. So even if I'm not singing, I'm like, I have to speak at stage volume. And you know how I kind of mumble most of the time anyway. But now all of a sudden I'm really projecting and I'm really speaking with a good speaking voice. This is something you need. You were very surprised because I don't talk like this in real life. But
you would think he doesn't know how to enunciate.
The point is that I need to be using the vocal folds in a way where they're getting conditioned. You can't shock them in rehearsal, even speaking, and just like expect them to be conditioned. You need to be conditioned and practice speaking in a way at home that it's not a shock when you get into the rehearsal process. So do you have anything else to add about the months before, or should we keep going?
No, I think that's very useful. I know that our next point is the leading up to 2 weeks prior. And now this is just the model that we're using for this explanation. If you have more time, if you have 6 months, if you have 4 months, 2 months, whatever, utilize all of these tools leading up. Yeah. Because the earlier you can start to get ready, the better off you will be. So take these next few with a grain of salt in that you can do this miles ahead for the first day of rehearsal.
Of course, absolutely. So let's say 2 weeks prior, you know, a few weeks prior, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. But now you're getting closer to the start of the first day of rehearsal. You need to start. So we prepared the body, the physical, but we need to start preparing the mind, the mental part of preparing for rehearsal, which would start with the script.
The script and character study and depending on who you are in the show and what your role will be in the show. And I think for me personally, if I have access to the script before the audition, I've already read it, right? And if I have access to the script well before 2 weeks, then I would have read it again and tried to internalize some of the choices and reasons and things and all the stuff. Like what are the motivations and what is my character doing? Where are they? What's the scene? How many scenes am I in? You can really get technical and break everything down. When am I on stage? When am I not? Now, of course, your director may change all of that. you could be on stage a lot more than you're expecting. But it's really good to know, because it kind of takes a big project and it just makes it a little smaller because you have an understanding of when you're going to be utilized.
You really need to understand the script from the perspective of the writer. You want to really dive in. And if you don't know how to do this or approach, we're going to do more content diving into analyzing scripts, the writer's perspective, and approaching these things to really break them down for especially beginners that are kind of starting out and don't know where to get started. But for now, you should ask questions. Who, what, when, where, why? What is happening in the scene? Why are they motivated to do that? What is the character thinking? Where am I? What am I? Who am I? Blah, blah, blah. The more questions you ask, the more you kind of dive into the script, and not just your character, but all the characters. There's a lot to really harvest out of the script. So make sure you're not being lazy with the script and just looking at your 2 lines and memorizing it, to actually really dive in and find the details of the script. And as Adrienne said, it could change. Sure. That's not the point. The point is to get so familiar with the material and comfortable with what's happening. When you get the curveballs that come in rehearsal or a director's perspective on it, that it feels easier. That you understand the script already, so you understand what they were doing that's different maybe, or like how to really make that change. So really do that work. Study and analyze the script.
And if hopefully you're in a position where you get some dramaturgical material, some material that explains the origin of the show, and anything that helps you understand the story or where these characters are from. Sometimes if you're doing a script that takes place in a real place or during a real time in history, you'll have a dramaturgical packet that explains the time and why things were said a certain way, or what these people would have been doing in their day-to-day. All of that really helps to enrich the story. And so if you have the time, if you're not juggling too much, it's worth it to dive into those packets. A gripe that I do have with theaters is that they usually don't hand over this material until the first day of rehearsal. And that's my gripe, because I feel like you're already scrambling to, write down blocking and remember what you worked on that day and get ready for the next day and plan your meals and all this stuff. So I wish that they didn't give these packets out first, second day. I wish that they gave them out a few weeks before, because then you could watch the documentaries and you could read the packets and the books and everything. So
yeah, and here's a little pro tip. I love my pro tips.
What's that?
Broadway. The pro tip is to reach out. Okay? Don't be shy. There's nothing wrong with getting told no in the answer to this question. But if you reach out to the stage manager or whoever the contact is for your show, don't be shy about, is there dramaturgical material available? Is there a note from the director that if you're doing accents, definitely reach out way ahead of time about accents, because accents are something that you really should be diving in and really
getting in your body,
getting in your body. So make sure to reach out early on that and say, are we doing accents? If the answer is yes, who should I be studying with? What, so you can really be doing all that work ahead of time. So don't be shy. Reach out to the stage manager, ask them to talk to the director, and try to get as much of this ahead of time as you can, for the reasons that Adrienne's saying. Most of the time, if you just stay silent,
you'll get it on the first day.
The first day.
And it could be overwhelming.
It could be. So be a little, what's the word I'm
proactive.
searching? Proactive.
And be your own advocate. Ask for what you need. Closed mouths don't get fed. All the cliched sayings right there. If you need something, ask for it, because no one knows that you need it. And it is the job of stage management and whoever. I'm losing my word. Yeah, but to help you and to make sure that you have what you need. And they won't know unless you say something.
That's right. And you also, in addition to those things, music. So if we're talking about a musical, we haven't been specific to a musical. We're talking kind of about all theater.
Yeah.
But if you're dealing with a musical, reach out in the same way and find out if there is the score, if it's a new musical, is there any music you can look at? What are there demos? What material can you digest before the first day of rehearsal?
Yes.
You want to get all that in your hands, start learning, start kind of really getting into the music. And yes, things could change. The music director, if you were like starting the soprano part, and the music director could change you to the alto, for instance. But if you reach out ahead of time to the stage manager, who then gets in contact with the music director, maybe that music director, if it's me, for instance, if you're working with me, I am very organized. So ahead of time, months ahead of time, I basically already got what I want to happen in the show with soprano, alto, who sings what. From your audition, I've taken notes on exactly your vocal range. I'm going to try to put you in a place that's good for your voice, that's going to keep you healthy. Good music directors are organized and know what they want to do and would be glad to reach out to you and at least say, I don't know. I don't know is an acceptable answer.
We'll figure that out in the room.
Right.
A lot of time, especially if there's a lot of choral numbers and they want to hear how everyone sounds together so that they can move parts to get the sound they want, then they're not going to commit to saying, you're always on top, you're middle. It's going to change. I've been in so many shows where my part has changed because of my timbre of voice, where that music director wants me to be.
That's right. Good music directors will change based on what they're hearing in the room, sure. But at least there's a starting point, and that you've at least done some of your work so you feel prepared. And then in the rehearsal process, of course, you can be flexible.
Everything is subject to change.
Yeah.
I did a Greek play a few years ago. It was my last show in Chicago, and we were told to be off book for the first day of rehearsal. And the director we were working with, Charles Newell, he wants everyone to always be off book for the first day of rehearsal for the table read. Now, yes, it is a table read, but it's more like a table show because everyone's expected to be off book. And I am very literal. I take everything to heart. And so I was off book. Come to find out, you didn't really have to be off book that day. But anyway, I say that to say that I spent about the timeline that we're saying, maybe 6 weeks out, I started memorizing these long passages that my character had to spew out. And she was it was Cassandra, so she was a little out of her mind. And I got to the first day of rehearsal and I had these long passages just ready to go. And then as we began to rehearse, they started getting cut. Getting cut. So I say that to say that even though you do all this prep, you still have to have your heart and mind ready for things to change and to not take it personally. I didn't feel like they were cutting my part because I sucked and they needed to see less of me. I had to remember and keep in mind that whatever they were doing was for the best for the show. And that I was prepared and I could rest easy. It's sometimes better to get your part cut instead of added on every day and memorizing new stuff.
But because you did all that work, you, even without knowing it, you had more context to the scenes that were happening. You just knew more about the character. So it's not time wasted.
Yeah, it's not time wasted. It's not time wasted to watch documentaries. I remember when I was preparing for Rent, I watched anything I could get my hands on about the AIDS epidemic in the early 90s and late 80s. I watched Paris is Burning. I didn't even know about Paris is Burning, and I got to discover that gem because I was doing Rent. So even if you don't get a dramaturgical kit, guess what? You can do your own research. You can figure out, okay, what is this show about? When does this take place? And how can I do my own research? Because YouTube is a source, depending on what you're doing. Netflix and Hulu are sources, and Google, hello. So.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're halfway through. We're now going to start talking about days before the first rehearsal. It's getting very exciting now. We're feeling the anticipation. The first day of rehearsal, it's coming up. It's very exciting. But before we do, a quick word from our sponsor, 32 Bar Cut. She loves when I do that. No, I'm not going to say anything. I was just going to tell you guys, thank you so much for the support. And
we have fun. We look forward to every Monday and Wednesday when we get to connect with you guys when we get to connect with you all.
Yeah.
And
every Monday
we appreciate
and Wednesday.
all the feedback and our regulars who chat with us each time. It's a really special thing to connect with people all around the world and do this.
Yeah, and share with your friends if you feel the spirit move, because the more we get it out there, we're eventually going to start going live with these videos. We're always live with you in the chat, but we're eventually going to start hitting the live button and actually doing these live and chatting
Yeah.
with you live and all that. But we want to kind of spread the word first. So we appreciate
Yeah.
all your help in that.
And don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, but you're digging what we're saying, hit the subscribe button. It's free and it helps our channel reach other people because that's just the way it works. Anyway.
Okay, so we're days prior. We're days leading up. So this is just practical stuff, my friends. We're not doing anything revolutionary here, but we might as well just have a little chat about it. Number one, you have a rehearsal space. You should know where it is. Okay, don't be the person who looks it up last minute on Google, takes them, they ride the wrong train to the wrong space, they're late. Because if you're late to the first rehearsal, that's going to feel terrible.
You should,
make sure you know where you're going. Okay, that's obvious. And make sure you know what time rehearsal is.
And
Adrienne
sometimes you may not. Oh, I'm sorry, honey. What were you going to say?
I was going to say Adrienne just did a reading not too long ago without throwing somebody on the bus. There's this woman, she didn't know in the reading, she was always late to rehearsal. She didn't know, and it's over Zoom. Okay, there's no excuse. Don't be that person. It looks bad. Okay, I've clocked this person. I know. Okay, that's a problem person. You don't want to be that person. Don't let anybody on the artistic team clock you that you could be a problem. Don't do it. Okay, know where you're going. Know what time the rehearsal is. Yeah. You got this. Okay. All right. What else do we need to know days prior?
Yeah, I want to speak on that a little bit more because these are things that you can control. Right. There's a lot about this business that you can't control. Mm-hmm. But don't let the things that you can control, like being prepared, being on time, and all of that, be the reason why people don't want to work with you again.
That's right.
So definitely want to make sure you know where the rehearsal location is. And if you have any questions or if anything the stage manager or company manager sent out is unclear, this is your time to get all of that straightened out. Mm-hmm. With first rehearsals like this, sometimes they know straight away that it's going to start 10 a.m. top of day. Other times you won't get the call until the weekend before, or sometimes a couple days before, or sometimes even as late as the night before. So make sure that your email is accessible and you're checking it and you know, and most likely your stage manager will ask for everyone to reply to that call email so that they know that they have everyone's email and that they can reach you and you can reach them and that you know where to go. Also, you're going to I don't want to get ahead because I was going to talk about all these materials and things you might get the first day that's overwhelming.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that. But also in these days prior, before the first day, make sure you're getting sleep, my friends. You don't need to be staying up all night studying the script. It's too late for that. That's why we did that months before. Don't be drinking and partying and carrying on. You need to sleep. Yeah. Okay, get your 8 hours of sleep minimum.
And if you're someone,
and stay hydrated.
If you're a person who can really rely on their body and their voice, and you oftentimes never lose your voice or anything like that, I feel like those are the folks who really, take liberty with, anything. They're like, hey, I'm fine. I never lose my voice. I think that that's great. But I do think that leading up to a rehearsal, a first rehearsal, a rehearsal experience, you're doing yourself a favor if you really just try to taper everything down, get centered, rest your body, because rehearsal processes are quite challenging. Yes. And it takes a lot out of you mentally and physically. And if you're someone that cooks and that meal preps, this is a good time to go ahead and prepare your lunches every day and think about what you're going to have for breakfast. If you have access to making your own coffee at home or tea at home, do that. Make sure that you have all of those things lined up so that you're not spending too much money during the rehearsal process. Coffees every day and lunch every day, 6 times a week really does add up.
Let's talk about what to put in your bag. Okay, the bag prep, the things you need to have in your bag. Number one for me on the music team, you need to have a good pencil. You need to have a water bottle. You need to have maybe all the materials you already got printed out, ready. Good pencil, good water bottle. Mm-hmm. And you might need a recorder. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have their phones. They use the app now to record for music rehearsals. Mm-hmm. But some people like to use a Zoom or like some physical recorder. Make sure you have that. That's also a good habit to be in. So have your bag kind of packed. That'll make you feel at ease.
Have a charger for any of those devices that you need to record, or for your phone or anything like that.
Granola bar.
Have your script. Have a highlighter. And I would say a couple of pencils. you want to mark your script as well as your score with pencil only. Things are going to change.
Yeah.
Don't even bring a pen. The only pen you're going to need is to sign your contract and whatever paperwork company management gives you. It's the only time you're going to need a pen during this process.
That's right. I want to talk about something too that doesn't get talked about.
What's that?
If ever. I never hear it anyway. And maybe only in theater school they talk about this. Before you get to the first day of rehearsal, if you're a beginning actor or if you're experienced, you need to have developed a shorthand or some sort of note-taking system for blocking and for music. Something that makes sense, that when you work quickly in a blocking rehearsal situation, with some directors, it's instantly go to 4, upstage right, go to 4, then cross to 2, then you're going to be down left in a special, right on 6, and then you're going to move to 7 at this beat and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you don't have a system your own system, whatever it is, for writing that stuff down and blocking it in a shorthand, you're going to be a mess. So you need to have a system beforehand. US means upstage. Right is always right. L is always left. Do you draw lines? How do you notate blocking? You need to know what you're doing before you get to rehearsals. Trust me, it'll be a lifesaver.
What's pretty nifty, though, is that dance captains get charts. They get these charts of the stage where they can write where everyone goes at every point and everything. And I think that's really useful for dance captains. I wish that they handed those out for everyone, so you could just write down where you're supposed to be.
Well, that's what directors use.
Does everyone know what Austin meant by the numbers? Because I know that everyone watching kind of runs the gamut on experience, but in theater, this is something I didn't know. But I guess it comes from the world of dance, where you have numbers across the proscenium. Is that's where it is? Yeah, of the stage, and its center is 0, and then it goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way until the edge of the stage on either side of that 0. So that's what Austin means. If the director is telling you go to stage left 6, then that would be left of center on the 6,
which is feet. So it's 6. It's by feet.
Yeah.
So.
I
so
didn't know that.
make sure you have a good system in place. And trust me, that'll be a lifesaver for you, because otherwise, if you're actually physically writing, go to over here and stand by the box, that ain't going to work. Not at the pace. Well, you just
may not have time.
Not at the pace that Broadway works, at least. And most theaters.
Most theaters. Because this is not just isolated to Broadway. We're really talking about the first day of rehearsal for any process that you're going to have.
And as a music director, it's the same for music directors, my friends. I'm happy to help anybody that has any questions with this. But when we say, breaths, when you mark a breath, know how to mark a breath clearly for yourself. When we say connect the phrasing, this needs to be connected. Make sure you're marking that with a slur. Make sure that every time we say, swell, or we want to have a crescendo here, that you're marking that.
Yeah.
You need to mark everything the music director says, just so you have a catalog of it. You're not going to remember.
No, you're not going to remember
it. You think you will, and then the next day it'll be like you've never sang the song in your life.
And cutoffs too. Like for me, I have a quick shorthand for cutoffs. So if the music director says cut off on the and of 4, then I do a slash and I'm like, I put the and of 4. I do a 4+, or so all of my cutoffs are big slashes down the measure. And any quick breaths or any phrasing like that, I do it like a comma, and that helps me remember. And it's your score. Whatever makes sense to you, write it in. It doesn't need to be anyone else's method. As long as it makes sense to you, it's fine.
That's right. And if you have questions about how we do it officially in conductor books and stuff like that, I'm happy to share any questions you have about the shorthand, the official shorthand for MDs.
Because you don't want to be that singer or that actor in the company that has to get the notes several times just because you didn't write it down.
Now it's time for a pro tip.
What's a pro tip?
Let me tell you a pro tip. This is that I have learned over years and years and years and years of doing the wrong thing in this situation. Beforehand, research the cast, research the crew, the director, everybody, learn their faces and learn their names before ideally the first day. It will help you so much from embarrassment.
Never done this.
Well, it's a pro tip. So
I guess I'm not a pro. I have never done this.
This is a new thing.
But it is something that actors do, and I think it's useful and helpful. I just oftentimes find myself too busy to really do it, or I don't have the cast list.
Yeah, but that's what part of the pro tip is, to ask for the cast list ahead of time if there is one, and really look up people.
You know what? I did do it this last time.
Yeah.
I did do it this last time. Okay, so I just finished a reading, and I asked the stage manager for the cast list because I needed to know who was playing what so that I could prepare myself for that in this Zoom experience. So I actually did do this for the first time. And I knew some of the names, but I would say that about a third of the folks I didn't know. And so I Googled them and I was like, oh, okay. Oh, cool. You know, and it was actually really fun. But this is the first time I've ever done that. I should have been doing that in years prior, but yeah.
It's a pro tip. Nobody wants to be all the way to tech rehearsal or even in performances and still be like,
what's your name?
Don't be that person.
Also, don't be that person.
For the crew,
I was in The Lion King for 2 years, and one of the actors in The Lion King, I will not name names, did not know my name. And he pretended that he did, and finally he said I think I was social media captain. So this is a stupid story. You don't want to hear this. They don't want to hear this story.
Basically, the story is don't be, hey, buddy, hey, girl.
No.
Hey, man. Don't be that person. Don't do that. Nobody likes that. No. Don't be that person. Learn their name. Take the time. You can do it.
And learn the folks behind the table, the creative team and everybody. That's what I'm talking about.
The crew, the music director, all the musicians.
Yeah.
I'll get on that soapbox later, but how many Broadway people don't know the musicians' names? And they're playing the same show and performing every night. They don't know the musicians' names.
I don't know the musicians' names.
That's a shame. That's another video.
I'm sorry. I barely see them.
Priorities.
Okay. Well, that's something that I'll work on when we get back to Broadway.
That's right. Things are going to be different when we get back, my friends. Okay, day of. It's now the day of the rehearsal. I'm so excited. I'm about to pee my pants.
Yeah, so, you know what? I say you got to get up early. Make sure that everything is taken care of, because most likely you will be nervous, and you don't want to leave anything to last minute. So the night before is definitely preparation time. Yep. Get everything laid out. Your bag should already be packed, ready to go, whatever you need, because it's most likely going to be in the morning. And even if it isn't in the morning, sometimes that's worse, because then you think you have all day to get ready, and all of a sudden you're scrambling to get out the door because you thought you had all day.
Well, the best news I have for you, too, in addition to that, is guess what? You have already prepared for the weeks and months leading up. So today's an easy day, my friends.
Today's a joyous day.
You're going to be feeling good because you got the bag packed. You already did that. You're grabbing that. You know where you're going. You're going to get there. You're going to know their names. You're going to know the music. You're going to know the script. You're going to be on cloud 9, my friends. So enjoy the first day of rehearsal. You did it. You've made it. And keep in mind, if you didn't get any of the things that we talked about, like you didn't get the cast list, you didn't get the music, you didn't get all that, it's okay.
It's okay.
So did everybody else. You're all in the same boat.
Oh my God.
Well,
maybe. Well, we don't know.
We don't know. But it's going to be okay. Sneak pictures. So then later you can be like, oh, that's Fred. Oh, that's George. Oh, that's Sally. Okay. You know what I mean?
So most likely on the first day of rehearsal, you're not just going to dive right in. There's going to be a meet and greet. So you should plan. Me personally, I don't like to just walk in 5 minutes before the first day of rehearsal starts. I like to be there half an hour early, set my stuff down, use the restroom, just get my bearings. And I am by nature a very shy person, so I really don't like meet and greets at all. It is a nightmare for me.
Yeah.
And my latest meet and greet was about 2 years ago for Kiss Me Kate. That's the one I can think of. I mean, I've done readings in between here and there, but I remember standing in the middle of this meet and greet, and Lance, who was in the cast, saw me just standing there looking like I wanted to flee. And he said, come over here. And so I went over there to chat with him, and he was like, you look like you needed someone to talk to. So don't be like me. Be ready to put your extrovert hat on.
Yes.
And get ready to smile and mingle and chat with all the people that Austin said you should research, and see if you can find some common ground. And maybe you can ask about, hey, how did you hear about this project? How did you book this? What was your audition like? Or ask them where they're from, or, have they always lived in this city, or whatever. Just try to find ways, conversation starters that'll make you feel comfortable if you are a little more introverted like me and you find meet and greets to be challenging.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that. That is the exact same for me too, which is I have done that so many times in the past, especially Broadway meet and greets, which are ginormous. It's all the crew, all the designers, all the cast, it's like 80 people. I remember with Dear Evan Hansen was like that. And then I was doing my kind of shy thing because I didn't know, but luckily Alex Lackmore grabbed me because I was MDing the tour, and he, took me around, and I was like his plus one. You know what I mean? I was going
that's
around
really nice.
and introduced me to Pasek and Paul, who wrote the show, and people that I need to meet, but I'm there's no way I'm going to go up to Pasek and Paul and be like, hello, I'm Austin. I'm just not that way. I'm way more shy. So, but the point is that we should be a little more outgoing, and it's okay that you don't know everybody. Everybody's kind of in the same boat. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are in the same boat. And be confident.
Yeah.
You've done the work to prepare. Now enjoy it. Have fun.
So most likely you'll have a meet and greet, then you'll have a welcoming session where either the artistic director or the producer or the director will come out and address everyone. Or maybe all three of those people will come out and address everyone. And then they're going to start doing the designer presentations. So they're going to talk about, their vision for the show. They're going to maybe bring out a small replica of the set, show you their vision for everything. They're going to have a board full of everyone's costumes and what they want everyone to look like in the design of the show. It's a really cool experience. Yeah. Take it all in. Listen, because they're going to give you the framework for the set. And most likely you're going to be in a rehearsal space. You're not going to be on stage. The set may still be being built. So the most you can listen to the set explanation, the better off you will be, because you'll know what the director is referring to when you get blocking notes during the rehearsal process. That's right.
Have fun, my friends. We're excited for you. You booked a show. It's your first day of rehearsal. It's an exciting time. Enjoy it. Be yourself. That's probably the last thing I would say is be yourself.
Yeah.
There's been times in the past, when I feel like I have to pretend that I'm some good actor, or I pretend that I know everything. Or especially early on when you don't know, you may not know things like upstage and downstage. I mean, who knows, hopefully you do.
No, that's happened
to me. But there is
a
time for everybody when you don't know upstage. It's okay. Basically, it's time that we kind of lose the pretentiousness of all this business. And if someone doesn't know something, we'll just help. We've all been there. So be yourself. If you don't know something, don't pretend. Just ask.
And there are no dumb questions. Honestly, if you don't know something, speak up and ask. And I think the only time folks really get irritated about questions is if it's already been answered and you weren't listening.
That's right.
But other than that, asking questions, hopefully you're in a safe environment where you can ask questions, and I hope that you're under a leadership that allows you to ask questions.
That's right.
I have had the pleasure of working with directors that love questions, so that helps.
Good directors love questions, so.
He said
it. Well, thanks for listening. We hope you have a great first day of rehearsal. And tell us what you think in the comments. If you're a pro, tell us what we missed. Tell us what you do, what your routine is. We love to hear about what everybody's. This is just our perspective.
And if you have questions, like we said, there is no question that is stupid or too small. So drop them down below, and we will see you next time.
See you next time.